This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for January 4th, 2025. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Elon's cheap labor. Musk and Ramaswamy are making a big push for H-1B visas. Officially, this is designed to prioritize immigrants with skills. However, even the New York Times has admitted that this might not be how it works in practice. They pointed out that Disney employees were being fired but not before training their foreign replacements. And this article was from all the way back in 2015, 2 weeks before President Trump announced his campaign. I doubt that they would print the same article today. At the same time, America has had a massive brain drain because of the broken education system, with American youth being trained to hate America. As usual, I will admit that I do not know the perfect solution. However, the enemy and the deep state want us divided. We cannot let that happen. Now let us move away from controversial news for Mr. Musk to good news for Mr. Musk. A new type of battery. Lithium is not officially classified as a rare earth metal, but it is still expensive and difficult to obtain. It is the primary building block for modern electric cars and all electronic devices in general. However, it may be obsolete before long. Scientists have built a proton battery and others are working on sodium batteries. The former overcomes many of the physical limitations of lithium batteries. And sodium batteries are good because salt is very easy to obtain. I do not know if either of these are the solution, but they show some promise. If either of these are shown to be able to do what lithium can do, only better and cheaper, electric cars might be a lot cheaper. Granted, they are still powered by the grid, which is mostly coal, but I digress. However, I need to point out that engineering moves at a snail's pace, and so it may be years before we can practically utilize this technology. And because I do not understand most of this engineering, let us go back to politics. Will Johnson remain? Speaker Mike Johnson has received the endorsement of President Trump. That is a huge boost for him. Has Speaker Johnson done some horrible things?
Yes.
That recent and wretched omnibus comes to mind, as well as FISA courts. However, I would like to point out that none of these people will be perfect. Not even President Trump is perfect. However, without a Speaker of the House, the results of the election cannot be certified. As such, on January 20th, the line of succession would fall to Chuck Grassley. And even then, we would still not have a Speaker. D.O.G.E kept Johnson from passing the omnibus. And once officially in office, Musk and Ramaswamy will have direct access. Johnson may not be perfect, but he is better than the swamp creature that the Democrats want. We need the election certified for President Trump to take office. However, the deep state has another plan to keep him out. Another insurrection planned. There are a lot of things that happened in the 2020 election that we are still not allowed to talk about. However, let us talk about something that happened in 2021. The mostly peaceful protest of January 6th. Fake news outlets such as The Hill still believe that President Trump initiated an insurrection that he never initiated. They are really pushing the idea that because of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, President Trump cannot be president. It states that anyone who has violated the oath of the Constitution cannot be president. First of all, I am shocked that they even know what is in the Constitution. Second of all, they argue that anyone who has violated his oath cannot run. By that standard, you would not find a single candidate from amongst the Democrats. Since they love to violate the Constitution as if it did not exist, you would not have as hard of a time finding a Republican, but I digress. The Hill wants Congress to stage an insurrection. President Trump won the popular vote, all of the swing states, and turned blue states purple. And somehow, President Trump is the criminal.
None of this makes sense.
Cackling Kamala lost. So let us talk about another loser. Lia Thomas Loses. While Thomas's medals have sadly not been taken away and given to the proper recipient, Riley Gaines, Thomas has been barred from competing as per the NCAA. I do have a question. Why are there no women that are transitioning and then winning medals left, right, and center in the men's divisions? Just something to consider. Now, the culture war is something that cannot be overlooked. As such, I take you to the kitchen table. Meat is good. Now on this channel, I like to focus on current events. As such, if something is more than a month out, let alone 2 years out, I probably will not give it much attention. Unless, of course, the implications are of a grand scale. Such is the case with this story. The WEF wants us to eat bugs to save the planet from imaginary global warming. Global warming, something that will kill us all, even if the models never come to fruition. However, a 2018 study by a Utah professor claimed that 88% of adult Americans are overweight. We know that RFK has a lot of work to do in the FDA with all of the artificial food. After all, half of what we end up eating is unnatural chemicals. I would like to point out that the same people who took experimental drugs with known consequences are the same ones who are not worried about all of the chemicals in our food. Now, what does all of this have to do with the WEF's bugs? Simply put, a study reported by the New York Post says that 12% of Americans, mostly men, are eating half of the beef supply. Now, correlation does not necessarily imply causation. However, this seems to imply that eating meat is better than what everyone else eats. Meat, unlike most breads and fruits, is not full of sugar, and the right type of fat is vital to the human body. So you put all of that information together, and remember that you and I are the actual carbon that the World Economic Forum wants to reduce.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
So, because everything they tell us about global warming is a lie, we need to eat even more beef. But let us see why their predictions always seem to fail. The ocean cools us down. Sulfur, a natural byproduct of human digestion, has a big impact on the environment. While we do emit carbon dioxide or plant food, we also release sulfur, as do a lot of marine animals. Now researchers have quantified how much sulfur is being produced by the ocean's creatures, and it is much more than previously thought. Sulfur provides a cooling mechanism for the planet. All of their models for years have been warning us about a change of 1 to 2 degrees Celsius change over the next 100 years. This is supposedly a sign of the end of the world. Again. However, none of their models took this cooling into effect. Should we work to eliminate putting excess carbon into the air?
Yes.
But are the environmentalists making a mountain out of a molehill?
Yes.
Climate change models and predictions do not pan out. Maybe now that we understand that this sulfur is playing a large role, they can move on to empirical science.
One can only hope.
Imaginary global warming is supposedly on the rise and leads to natural disasters. However, do not count on the government to come in and save you. The Amish Builders. What happened in North Carolina was a natural tragedy, and the official job of FEMA is to deal with that. Instead, as James O'Keefe has already shown, they are just sitting around and collecting a paycheck. The government is not helping. In fact, these people have been depending on churches and charities to help them. Enter the Amish from Pennsylvania. They came in and built 12 tiny homes in 2 days. Find a union that can accomplish that. They are doing the job that the government should be doing, and with their own money.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
We of course already knew that our own government is more often than not the enemy. As such, let us talk about one of the weapons that they have used against us. Havana syndrome confirmed. A CIA whistleblower has confirmed that Havana syndrome is real. It was named after Havana, Cuba, where it was first documented. Symptoms reportedly range from seizures to vertigo to nausea to cancer. Previously, this directed energy weapon was a conspiracy theory. Now everyone knows that it is real. Well, at least those that did not already know it was real. There are many more things that they are keeping from us. But some people still trust assets from Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is here to remind you to never question the official narrative. Who have been lying about everything from the get-go. These are weapons that can and will eventually be turned on us.
One more thing.
Havana syndrome was officially listed as a sickness without a cause. That makes me think of sudden death syndrome. That started becoming more common in the past few years. We know that the government was lying about Havana syndrome. As such, let us see something else that they are not being fully truthful about. Death by truck. Last week I reported that a car was blamed for killing people in Germany, rather than the person driving it. Now we had something similar over in Louisiana. A truck is being blamed for killing people, and the actual killer claims loyalty to ISIS. However, that is one more reason that it is blamed on the weapon and not the person. Naturally, it will be a lot harder for the government to ban vehicles, despite this not being a constitutional right. It is easier for the media to make these claims than to deal with the systemic problem. How many of these terrorists have crossed the border into America without any vetting? This is why we need the wall, and this is why we need President Trump. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke, maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. But before you go, on the left I have last week's video, but you may also enjoy the video on the right.